Good morning. If you could see behind me, we have a massive amount of snow coming down. Okay, it's not DC levels of massive, but the wind's pretty gusty and the flakes are pretty big. Let's go see what the ducks have to say about it. The chickens are gonna take one look at it and go, no, we're gonna stay right here. The ducks, altogether different prospect. It's snowy enough that I borrowed Everett's hat to keep me warm today. Because it has very useful ear flaps. Here we go. We're gonna go open up the chicken coop and see if anyone wants to come out. And then we'll come back and give everyone some water. The gates are giving me problems today because the hasps aren't opening as easy as they normally do. Let's see what we got. eggs today. I'm going to shut the coop so it's roughly chicken sized. Or rather, the doorway is roughly chicken sized so that we can keep the snow out. Let's go get everyone some water. I'm gonna dump these out before. The wind is pretty gusty. This is one of the problems of being short. I have to hasp lock the gate when I come in so the chickens don't all escape. But then it's really hard to get it undone when I'm finished. Okay. Water. I keep a bucket underneath my downspout so I have instant water in the morning, which helps at least fill up one container. And it's mostly thawed. Go get those chickens some water, although they probably won't touch it. Everyone is inside. The ducks, on the other hand, they don't give a duck. Today I want to discuss some of the strategy that went into planning what I'm going to plant and unbox my first seed order. Yay, Johnnies! As a gardener, it is generally my best practice to go through and want to plant not only like every single vegetable I can, but a bunch of different varieties of the vegetables that I have. The last time I gardened in Houston, I think I planted like 20 different kinds of tomato, which is all well and good when you're gardening and you're trying to raise food for yourself, when it's a hobby. Now that I'm moving into something that I'm doing more professionally, I realized I needed to simplify. I needed to pick flowers based on a number of criteria, and I also needed to make sure I didn't use that gardener mentality when selecting what I was going to grow. because I think that a lot of newbie fledgling farmers go in and want to grow all the things like they did when they were a gardener. So I set out to limit myself. For a full disclosure, I am in zone B. Zone 5B. And we have a very short growing season. I will be growing flowers from mid-April-ish, like with heavy season extension, through October-ish, just depending on when my first and last frost dates happen to be this year. The first frost date, though, is in May, and I will not be growing warm perennials until June at the earliest. So I'm going to be leaning heavily into cold, hardy annuals like bachelor buttons, straw flowers, status, stock, snapdragons. So there was 2 criteria. I had 2 different kinds of flowers that I could grow as far as annuals go, and I had perennials I could grow. So in those categories, cold tolerant annuals, heat loving annuals, perennials, I allowed myself to pick about a dozen different flowers to grow. And within that dozen different kinds of flowers, I allowed myself to pick no more than 4 varieties. The reason being, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. I didn't want to have to start 20 different kinds of snapdragons. To help drill down further, I decided the best way to approach this was to think about what I wanted my end product to look like. So I decided I was going to go with 2 different colorways as far as potential bouquets. A very moody, dark, lots of deep purples, lots of very saturated colors colorway, and then a more traditional market bouquet with your pastels and your bright colors that are a little, just a little more, not muted, but definitely less saturated. By envisioning what my final product was going to look like, it allowed me to select varieties that would fit in either of those 2 colorways. That being said, this seed order right here is not the only one I'm going to make, because several of the things that I wanted to buy were out of stock. I forgot about the third variety, which is perennials, particularly herbal perennials. Because I'm going into toiletry manufacturing as well, I wanted to pick plants that not only would, specifically herbs and whatnot, that would present beautifully in bouquets and make things smell better and be more beautiful from a oleofactory standpoint. I also wanted to pick things that I could infuse into my carrier oils to create the scents for my soaps and whatnot from products I grew on my farm. So, cold annuals, warm annuals, perennials. That's how we're looking at it. There are several things that I wasn't able to get, such as certain varieties of calendula. Calendula, I think, is going to be one of those things that I grow extensively because of the fact that it works so beautifully in soap. Echinacea is another one that I got 1 variety of echinacea. I probably would like to get more, but they did not have any available at the time when I made the order. There's a few varieties of thyme and mint that I wanted to buy that weren't available at the time that I bought them. But this is the bulk of what I'm ordering and planting this year. So we're gonna cut this open, and we're gonna see what we got inside. So I have 47 different kinds of plants, seeds, and most of them fit within the categories I was talking about. I also was able to pick up, they had this on sale at the local craft store, this really cool little tote that has all these nifty little boxes in it. it's for photos, for scrapbooking, but tell me that is not seed-sized. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna unpack, we're gonna sort by type, and we're gonna put them into the carrying case. And eventually, if I decide to expand how many seeds I buy, we'll buy more cases, or we'll use another case. So I have 2 packages of Cheyenne Spirit Echinacea, which is your traditional cone flower. I have stock. It's Katz's formula mix. It has a variety of different colors. It is fantastic as filler. It gives bouquets more height. I think that's really important. You want to like think about your bouquets in tiers. You know, having some lower flowers, middle flowers, and some spiky flowers to give it some height. I have also a mixture pack of Scabiosa. I leaned heavily into the mixes just so I could see what I liked and what I didn't. I would, like I said, I've said before, I don't know if I said it before in a video or if I've told my husband this, but my goal is to grow a few things and do them very, very well versus growing an abundance of things and doing it marginally. You don't want to become a weed farmer. The minute you start growing weeds, you're not growing flowers, and weeds don't make you money. Weeds don't grow your business. I have Dara. It's Ami. They're really beautiful, kind of antique-y, false Queen's Anne lace. It is beautiful. It comes in a bunch of different colors. They're all very, I don't want to say muted, but they have kind of an older quality to them. It's very hard to explain, but they're beautiful. They're very soft. I have Flower Burst Red Shades Yarrow. Thank you, Arthur, for standing in my way. Hey, kitten, you're in my way. I wanted to find a yarrow that kind of worked with that more saturated, moody color palette, and this yarrow seemed to be the winner. It's perennial, so I may grow it as an annual in my beds, but I'm probably also going to establish a yarrow bed or two in a subsequent block. More on that later. Summer Pastels Yarrow goes more with a second pathway, of colorway rather, with the more traditional market bouquets that are more of a softer palette. Early Potomac Sunrise mix. This was one of those really cool mixed seed packs where I got flowers that would support, or I hopefully will get flowers that support both of my color palettes. I love snapdragons. Snapdragons are one of my favorite flowers. I'm hoping they're as much fun to grow as they are to play with. You can make them talk. The Costa Mix F1 is a hybrid. I believe it's more of an early F1. It's an early snapdragon. This is probably what I'm going to plant for my first round, and then say on the back if it's an early sunflower. I don't know, but one of my flowers that I bought was an early sunflower, and that was why, was because I know that I have the potential for frosts going into the season, and I want something that could survive that. Rudbeckia is another thing that I bought that I leaned heavily into because it is a perennial, and it does incredibly well here. When I moved into this location, one of the previous owners, the one before the people we bought our house from, was an avid gardener, and she left us with a huge patch of peonies, Not enough to really like sell, but they're there, and I'm probably going to use them for cut flowers in my house. And maybe when I divide them up, I might be able to start my peony patch from them. We'll see. But they're awesome. And the other thing she planted, she had a bunch of daylilies and a bunch of rudbeckia. So I know that rudbeckia grows on this property with very little human intervention because the people we bought the house from were not huge outdoorsy people. I bought Indian Summer Rudbeckia, and I bought several others, but I think they're in another packet, another little bundle. I have Chief Mix Celosia. I have Citrus Basil it's Miss Burns Lemon Basil. I have 2 packets of Elegance Lavender. It's supposed to be it's perennial here. It grows beautifully in this region of the United States. So I'm very excited about, I'm probably going to, again, this is one of those flowers I'm going to lean heavily into from the standpoint of I would like to dry it and use it for value-added products later. Feverfew is another cold annual, actually it's called perennial. It's a tender perennial. I'm going to probably grow this as an annual and a perennial, like much like the yarrow. I'm gonna put I have a pile of herbs. Sweet Annie. The reason I bought the Sweet Annie is it's an annual. It is also called Sweet Wormwood, if I remember correctly. But I bought a bouquet for a friend from Trader Joe's as a hostess gift, and they had put sprigs of Sweet Annie and lavender into this bouquet, and it was the prettiest grocery store bouquet I've ever bought. And I was like, you know what? That's good value right there. That whole multi-sensory extravaganza that is this bouquet, it was really enhanced by having pleasant smelling herbs tucked inside of it. So I bought some Sweet Annie because it smells delicious. I have the Orange Flash. It's Orange Flash Calendula. Again, I need lots of calendula in my life. And I have several varieties, but I would like a few more. I think I have 2 that I ordered. There's a 3rd or 4th one that I want, but they're not in stock right now. I have Gomphrena Strawberry Fields and Raspberry Cream. There's a few other little round flowers that I would like to get. Drumstick flowers, I think they're called. I forgot to order. I just flat out forgot to order those. So I'm gonna probably throw that into another later order. Bachelor buttons. This is one of those other ones that I'm going to have to order. I got a large, pretty sizable collection of seeds here. I think I got like a ½ ounce. But there's another variety. This is kind of more of my traditional bachelor buttons, and they have another one that's called Black Magic that has a lot of those saturated deep purples, the more moody colors that I want for my other colorway. So I need to, it wasn't in stock. I need to order it when it comes in stock. There's another yarrow. It's just I love yarrow. It's a nice, it dries beautifully. It's a nice, it's a good filler flower. I got the Potomac Berry Blend Snapdragon Seed. This is like one of those more, it's got some pinks in it, but it's also got some really deep, like almost raspberry colored snapdragons, which I think will really play well with my more saturated color palette for that one colorway that I'm doing. Johnny's Potomac Custom Mix had a nice variety of colorways, so I snatched it up. Cherokee Sunset Mix which is another Rudbeckia. And then Cherry Brandy Rudbeckia was a very dark, almost plummy red Black Eyed Susan. I couldn't resist that one. It's also a tender perennial. All these are tender perennials. I'm going to create a Rudbeckia bed so I can just have those every year, as you know, backup. So any extra plants that I end up with will go into my perennial bed. The Sultane mix straw flowers, they dry beautifully. I picked them because they dry beautifully, and they're so cool. They're crunchy. I got Celosia pampas plume. I see them show up as dried flowers all the time in like the home goods stores. They're popular. I bought them because they're popular, and because again they're one of those ones that gives you height, and it's good to have height in your bouquets. Where's my Celosia? I went heavily into zinnias because I know zinnias are one of those flowers where I have been very successful as a flower gardener growing zinnias in the past, and I love them. I think that they are just wonderful base flowers for a bouquet. I got the Queen Lime because I love that kind of antique-y quality that they have to their flowers. I got Jim Baggett's Choice Blend because they had some just really beautiful colors, and it was a recommended flower. I also got the Oklahoma Improvement Mix because they had these almost dahlia-sized bouquet or dahlia-sized flower heads, and I was like, sign me up. Common Chamomile. I got it again because it's a great filler flower, and also because it is going to be it mixes well with calendula to make a really soothing soap, and I thought this would be a great thing to have for my off-season value-added products. It's just this one's called Amaretto Basil. It's this beautiful kind of green and purple basil. Primed rosemary. It's a perennial. I got it because I thought that it would complement other. It's one of those things I can use for value-added products. I can use it in bouquets to make them smell pleasant, as added foliage. I like herbs in bouquets. Cinnamon basil. I got it because it's got that beautiful plummy color to it. It smells like a cinnamon stick. Orange button calendula, red spike amaranth, and hot biscuits amaranth. I love the colorways. They kind of that coppery color. One more to go. I bought a bunch of Status. I think it's called Status. It might be Statis. I'm not sure. But I bought a pastel mix. I got this other, it's a formula mix. It's another collection of different colors. It's got some pretty blues in it. Then I bought so many sunflowers, but I only bought like 4 different varieties. I got a double quick orange sunflower because I wanted a double sunflower, but I didn't want to go all in on them. I got a bicolor because I thought with the little hints of brown in them, it would create more of a kind of autumn effect in bouquets. But then I really went heavily in the hype, basically the Pro Cut orange. It's that traditional kind of Vincent van Gogh style sunflower. So just the yellow, the quintessential dark yellow sunflower. So I went heavily into those. I also bought one branching sunflower. I got the Autumn Beauty because I think they're gorgeous. That was my one. I think it's gorgeous. I want to buy it. Because they have all these wonderful colors that play together, and they lend themselves really well to my more moody color palette, and they lend themselves really well to more of an autumn flower arrangement. And people here love fall. There's certain things that I've learned about in my 6 months of living here, and Michiganders love autumn. The trees change. It's gorgeous. They like their pumpkins. They like their mums. They like they're oranges and reds and yellows and, you know, those autumn colors. So I kind of decided that if I can keep things alive, then we'll grow those things. I have one other thing. And that is my Chinese forget-me-not called Firmament. It creates beautiful little blue filler flowers. And I think blue, you know, when you think about color theory, blue plays so well with yellows and oranges and things like that. So I got one really big packet of these. So we're gonna pack these up. We're gonna try to group them by color, but I'm going to try to group them by the season that they grow in and the type of flower they are. Cold flowers first. And what's really interesting, because of our growing, like Rudbeckia kind of bridges that gap in between cold and it sticks around all year. Like it was out in June and it was out in August. So Rudbeckia is a nice long-lived flower. Do my snapdragons. So we ended up with 4 different kinds of snapdragons. Bachelor buttons. Need to make sure I order those other ones. They're not going to be available till February or March. I'm gonna have to hang out there. One of the reasons I'm going so heavily into annuals is because I don't have a cooler as of yet. So tulips, peonies, those are out. That's not gonna happen. Not until we get a cooler, because when they're ready to go, you need to have a market for them, or you're stuck with a bunch of flowers you can't get rid of, and they're going to look atrocious by the time you get to market. By having a place where you can overwinter them, not overwinter, that's not really the right word. By having a place where you can store them cold and stave off that blooming for a little while, you can take them to market at your leisure. Which makes things a lot easier. A cooler is definitely on my must-have list for 2013, end of 2022 or early 2013, or sorry, end of 2022, beginning of 2023. I'm living in the past, I swear. Making this seed order has made everything feel a lot more concrete. I actually have something in my hand that's like an artifact of this period that, you know, I've been doing a lot of background stuff, like writing my business plan, getting in touch with an accountant so I can structure my business in a way that is sustainable. But there's something about actually having the seeds in your hand that makes it very, very real. I imagine I'm going to be saying that a lot. This order of landscaping cloth from Johnny's is making it so very, very real right now. The shipment of conduit is making it so very real right now. This load of compost. I'm hoping by staying organized that I can stave off some of the ADHD. And be more successful. That's why I'm trying to set the foundation right now. You know, good business practices, good bookkeeping practices, a good web presence, and good organization. Those, I think, are going to be the keys to success. I'm really glad that you're coming along with me on this journey, I guess. I mean, that's the best way. I'm glad you're coming along with me on this adventure. I like adventure better because you never know what the outcome's going to be. Thanks for stopping by and helping me unpack my seeds. I appreciate your help and your support. And I'll see you again next time. If you want to see how this garden grows, like and subscribe. And until next time, take care of yourselves and stay warm. It's cold and rough outside.